Good morning, everybody. This is Shakira, your community connector at Goodwill Columbus of Area 2. And today we are going to be doing another segment of healthy eating. And I am going to be making spinach and mushroom omelets. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let me get my camera together. Okay, so today we are going to need, of course, we are going to need eggs. I'm going to be using 3 medium-sized eggs. You are also going to need your spinach. So I have some organic spinach that I got from Sam's Club here. You are going to need mushrooms. So I have sliced white mushrooms. You are going to need tomatoes. You are also going to need feta cheese and butter. I'm using Country Crock's plant-based butter. Can you guys see that? Yeah, one of my friends at the gym told me about this, and I love it as an alternative to real butter and or margarine, which I stopped using margarine for the most part about a year ago. It's just, when you really look at what's in it and what it was actually meant for, you probably wouldn't want to eat it either. I'm also going to be using avocado. I have some onion that I'm going to be using too. So I have some white onion and some green onion to top that I'm going to be using. You can also have some shredded cheese if you're going to want to use that. And remember, everything that I'm using is optional. There is no rhyme or reason to you having to use what I'm using. These are just the things that I like to use. All right. And I am going to start by cracking my eggs. So I have my little measuring cup that I'm going to use. Two. And 3. So you always want to make sure you got no shells in there. I got a little small piece of shell in there. I'm going to see if I can get it out. Okay. We don't want to be eating any shells, right? So we got to make sure we get the small pieces of shells that were in there out of there. And then we're just going to mix up our eggs, get that all mixed up. After we get this mixed, we're going to set it to the side. And we can move on to getting our vegetables prepped and ready to go in the skillet. So I will set this over here. Rinse my hands off. I got a little bit of yolk on there. So, next I am going to go ahead and get my onions diced up. So I like to have a little bit of onions in my omelet as well as on top. So I'm just going to use a paring knife. Show you guys this little trick that my mom taught me when I was younger. So if you cut your onion in half and you just make little slits down your onion, it's basically dicing it before you get the chance to or before you have to actually slice it. So when you slice it, it's coming up in all these little pieces already. So it's just like the easiest way to dice an onion, in case you guys didn't know. And since I am using sharp knives in the stove today, I will just advise that if you are someone who has support, that either at one of our day programs or in home, you just want to make sure that you have your support person with you, monitoring you, making sure that we're doing everything as safe as possible as far as, you know, using a knife and using the stove here. So I have my onions diced up here. I'm going to go ahead and rinse some of my tomatoes and then get those diced up as well. Okay. I'm going to use this skillet here for my sauteing of my spinach and onions. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that warmed up and get the stove turned to medium. Some people like to do their spinach omelets with the spinach completely uncooked, and that's fine, but it gives it a bit of a bite when you're trying to eat, when you're eating your omelet. I don't know. I just don't like it. I prefer my spinach cooked a little bit when I'm having it inside of an omelet. If I'm eating it in some other way, then that's fine. It doesn't have to be cooked. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my feta cheese opened. I think this is the only thing today that has not been opened yet. So let's see. They make it hard to get in there, don't they? I'm just going to get that open and pull that back. So I have feta cheese that I love to go with my spinach and mushroom omelets. I think that's the best combination of cheese so far. But I also have pepper jack cheese in the refrigerator and some shredded cheese, which I may add. I don't know. We'll see. I'll take it out just in case. I have some mozzarella smoked provolone cheese shredded. So next I'm going to just take like a small handful of tomatoes, and then I'm going to rinse those off so I can get those sliced up and ready. So today I'm kind of non-traditional. I don't typically use a plate to cut things. I use a cutting board, but since I wanted to have everything in one place and not have to worry about moving my camera around, I'm just doing everything on this plate. And I'm using my cast iron skillets. I have 2 cast iron skillets here that I flipped upside down to kind of use as like a tabletop. If anybody is ever wanting to figure out how to utilize their space, that's nice way that you can use that space instead of putting things and trying to balance them on the eye of the stove. Not recommended. Okay, I think that was like 4 or 5 of these grape tomatoes that I'm cutting up here. Hope you guys can see this well. I'll slide it over in a second. Okay, so I have my diced onions and my tomatoes here that are cut up and ready. Over here. Let's see. My skillet is hot. Okay, so that's warming through. I'm going to go ahead and put some butter in there. So again, I am using the Country Crock plant-based butter. You guys can check this out if you want. I got this from Kroger near my house. I've also seen it now since I've bought that. I've also seen it at Walmart. So you can definitely just check and see if they have it at your local store and see it. Let me know if you try it and let me know what you think. I do like this for cooking and baking, but I'm not really a fan of it when I'm making like a dipping sauce for like crab legs or something like that. I have to have real butter for that. Okay, so I want to go ahead and just take probably like half of a teaspoon and put in this skillet, because this is just going to be to saute my spinach and my onions in. now that I have my butter melted, I'm going to just go ahead and add my onions. I'm sorry guys, my sinuses are acting up on me today. So I'm going to go ahead and just get these a little bit caramelized. I'm not going to let them get brown. That's not the goal here. I'm just going to go ahead and get these sauteed for probably about a minute or two, and then add my spinach and my mushrooms into them. I know you guys, I got a lot of comments on Christian joining me last week, and everyone saying how well he did, and that, you know, he's a good helper. He really is. Christian is a great helper, but since I'm doing stuff on the stove and recording, I'm too preoccupied to have him help today, but maybe he'll be back with me when I'm doing something again at the table. Okay, I can start to smell these onions cooking up, so I'm going to go ahead and add just about, put my mushrooms in next. So I like my mushrooms whole, and I'm not going to slice these up, but I'm just going to take like a couple and rinse these off and then drop them in there. So I have my mushrooms that I rinsed off, and I'm just going to pat dry some of that water out of there and then drop those in the skillet with the onions. And then let that cook down for a minute. Lastly, I'll add the spinach because I want it to cook or saute, but I don't want it to get completely wilted, so that'll be the last thing that I put in there. Okay. Clear out my space. I know you guys can't see over here what I'm doing, but I'm just making room for things that I need and things that I'm done with. Ooh, some of those are really big. Maybe I should break those down. Break them in half a bit. Okay, so I did decide to go ahead and just at least break down these bigger mushrooms. Didn't realize they were that big. Okay, so I didn't need to chop them. This is fine. This is working fine. Okay. So next I'm going to go ahead and get some spinach. Take like a small handful and drop that in. A little bit more. Ah, I'm losing my spinach. All right. So while that's cooking, I am going to add some black pepper. Okay, so a little bit of black pepper in there. And most of you guys who know me at work know that I like heat. By all means, you do not have to use this. This is just what I like. I'm going to put some Tony's Cajun seasoning in there just to give it a little bit of heat. Most things I eat are spicy. I might even add some red pepper flakes in there too, just because that's what I like. Okay, so this is cooking down almost to where I want it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to remove this from the heat because that is about how I like my spinach mixture to be done before it goes into my omelet. I don't want it to wilt too much, but this is great right here. That's just how I like it. Okay, so I am going to set that over here to the side. And let's see, I'm going to move this skillet back to this side. So I'm going to actually use this skillet to do my omelet. So I am going to put about a tablespoon of butter in there. And let that melt down. For my omelet, I'm going to turn the heat up to medium high. Just going to help that butter melt. Okay, so the butter is starting to bubble, so I'm just going to make sure that I get butter all around the edges of my skillet so that my omelet can flip easily. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add my beaten eggs. And I know that for some people with um, cholesterol issues or other health issues, they like to do egg white omelets. I haven't gotten there yet for myself. I am just not fond of just egg whites alone. Um, so I am using the entire egg. But remember, you can always modify anything that I'm doing here to your preference. The good thing about cooking at home is that you are cooking it at home. You can do it however you want. It's literally at your disposal. So anything you like, go with that. So I'm going to give this a little shake. Turn that back down a bit. Okay, so what I'm doing now is like as the egg is starting to set, I'm just going to pull the edges in so that the remaining egg mixture can kind of fill those spaces and cook through. And I'm going to turn that down just a little more. So now my stove is back to a medium heat. So what I'm doing here, and lots of people do omelets different ways. What I'm doing here is my goal is to try to get the entire egg cooked through from the bottom without having to flip it. I can flip it, but I don't want to. I like for my egg to cook from one side only. And so see, everything is starting to, firm up. So it's
Mom,
almost ready. Hi, Christian.
my sister won't let me play the game on the TV.
Okay, let her watch it for now. When I'm done, then you can play it, okay? Okay, so that is starting to firm up really nicely. And while I'm waiting on my egg to finish cooking, which is almost done, I'm just going to go ahead and prep my green onions. because I like to have green onions on top of my omelet. So right now I slice the bottoms off, and then I'm just going to cut what I have left in half, and then put those two sides together, and then just slice those. And fix. Something like this. So I have my onions all sliced up here, and I'm gonna need those in a second, because now looks like my omelet is now firm. So I am going to start filling my omelet. So the first thing I want to put in there is my cheese, because I want that to melt. Just going to take some of this feta and just kind of sprinkle it all around. There we go. I'm done with the heat, so I can turn off the stove. And then I will take my spinach and mushroom mixture, and then I will just put that on one side. Rule of thumb that I like to tell my kids when I'm teaching them to cook is that if you are right-handed and you're making an omelet, you want to line all of your filling up on the left, because when you close it and flip it, it just makes it easier. I don't know if that's a thing for anybody else, but it makes sense to me, because watching other people cook sometimes, and I mean, everybody has a way of doing things themselves, but it just stresses me out. If you have it the other way, and then when you go to take it out of the pan, it's not a smooth transition. It's just not. Okay, so I have my avocado here, or my omelet here, and it's all filled. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my spatula, lift this part up, and flip that over, and then just press and hold that closed for a minute. Okay, so I'm going to set this plate here, and then I'm going to depan my omelet. So can you guys see that? There is my spinach and feta and mushroom omelet. So I'm going to take that out, put it on the plate. And then to top it, so one of the things that I do like to do with my omelets is top it with, various different things. Today I'm going to top it with cheese, green onions, tomato, and avocado. So I have my shredded cheese that I'm going to use here. I'm just going to sprinkle. Oh, can you guys see? Sprinkle a little bit across the top. Put it on top there. Next, I'm going to put my tomatoes on. So I have the tomatoes here. I'm just going to put those on top. Remember, if you don't like tomatoes, or you don't like onions or mushrooms, please, by all means, just omit it when you make it. And then let me know. Let me know how it turns out if you do make it. So next, I'm going to put green onions on top. So we have some green onions here. Show you guys that so far And I have one avocado that I did not rinse off yet. So I'm going to take my avocado and I'm going to slice it. Oh, okay. Here, let me take this little stem out. So I am going to just take, oh, there's a little blemish there. Let me scoop that out. So I'm just going to slice my avocado and simply I'm just going to make some slits while it's still in the peel. Just like this. And then take my knife and run it along the edge of my avocado. And it lifts pretty much very easily out of the peel. So I don't need all of this avocado. I'm going to set some off to the side. Use what I need. So I just tuck. I hope you guys are enjoying so far. I am almost finished. Hope I'm not over. Oh, and I'm making perfect timing. It is 9:27. I was afraid that I might be going over my time, but it looks like I'm still good on time for now. So I am going to go ahead and take some red pepper flakes. I promised. Well, I didn't promise, but I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of red pepper flakes on mine because I like it. All right. So my omelet is officially finished and ready to serve. Give you guys a view of that up close. And that is my spinach, feta, and mushroom omelet. All right. Let me know if you make it. I'm really interested to know if you guys give this a try. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.